Hi everybody, impromptu video here in April 2023. I haven't done a video of my audio room. My wife Molly and I have this as kind of our hangout area when we're not watching TV and want to just chill out and listen to some music. This is a spare bedroom in the house that is not a great spare bedroom because there's not really a lot of room for a bed, which I'm going to get to in a minute, and not a lot of room for guests to put their suitcases and whatever. But anyway, let me turn and show you what the cool part of the room is, and that's the 1990s era high-end audio system. I've done a short video here and there on this, but this will really be the first where I go a little bit in depth. If you're wondering what the big case is between the speakers, that is a hide-a-bed. As I said, this is in a pinch used as a guest bedroom when we have people come visit us, but that means I have to move the amp, so it's not the easiest thing to do. So, getting to what we have here, we have my indulgence in what I lusted after back in the 1990s when I was working at a high-end audio store in the East Coast in high school, and we carried some stuff from $200 speakers to almost $80,000 speakers, which was in the early 90s, was still a ton of money. We had Wilson Audio, we had Mark Levinson, we had Spectral in the high-end room, and we had Energy. So I actually had a pair of Energy speakers as a kid. Let me turn this down a little bit. I had pair of Energy 2.1 bookshelf speakers, and then I ended up with my in-store discount upgrading to some 4.1 speakers, if that means anything to anyone from the 90s that owned Energies. But in the high-end room, we had these, which were the big dogs. These are the Energy Veritas 2.8s, and these were just like what I aspired to. They are they're big, they're imposing, they rock out for bass and rock music and techno, as well as the delicacy of classic music and classical or blues or jazz. So anyway, fast forward now to my late 40s, and I own a pair, and I can't believe I do. We also had Mark Levinson in the high-end room, and this was one of the quintessential amps that you could get in the 1990s, the venerable Mark Levinson 23.5. Shortly after I got this, about a year after I got it, I had one of the channels go out, and it had to be recapped. So I sent it to Pyramid Audio in Austin, Texas, and they had it for several months. It was a long process, but it came back to me almost better than new, and I'm very thankful and happy that there's still service centers out there that can take care of this old equipment. All cable is XLO. This is modern XLO, so it's not 1990s vintage. So I did stray a little bit there. The stand is a Zoethecus stand for the amp, and the stand for the audio is also Zoethecus, which again, this is what the brand was that we had in the high-end room when I worked at the store, and I've managed to track this down through a lot of painstaking process. Let's talk about the components. So this is really the showpiece here of everything that's on this rack. Starting at the bottom, we have the Magnum Dynalab 108 tuner, arguably one of the best cost no object tuners that you can buy, or could buy back then, and I don't know about now, but It's up there. It's got the magic eye. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. So you can see that where you can tune in, and then the eye gets more solid green as you get to the station that you're tuning into. Zoom out a little bit here. Above the Magnum Dynalab is also a very famous piece of equipment, the Nakamichi Dragon. So both the Magnum Dynalab and the NOC have been in for service. Again, not at Pyramid Audio, so Magnum Dynalab still services their equipment, so I sent it to them, to Jim, their owner. And then for the Nakamichi, the go-to guy seems to be a gentleman named Willie Herman, and I got on his waiting list because I had a weird clicking sound that would happen on some cassette tapes, and just switched over auto reverse. Remember auto reverse, everybody? So the NOC is playing right now, playing a tape by FM84, which, if you haven't checked him out, is a great 80s nostalgia album that he put together called Atlas. So I'm playing the FM84 tape. Above the NOC, we have the first digital pair that I'm going to talk about here. One is the Mark Levinson number 37 transport. The 37 also had to go in for service at Pyramid Audio. The belt broke, and I had to send that in about a year ago. All these things, this old 90s equipment is probably, if you're going to buy one, you just expect that you're going to have to find some repair service because something is going to go wrong. And then below it is probably the most high-end DAC you could get back in the day after maybe the 30.5 DAC by Mark Levinson. This is actually the 360S. I don't know if this is originally a 360 that was upgraded to an S, or if it's originally a 360S. I don't know if it really matters, but the point is it's a 360S now. And then above it, my preamp, again, 1990s, vintage, best of the best, 380S Mark Levinson. I think this is, what I've assembled is a pretty incredible system. And with the 23.5 amplifier, it's and the energy speakers, I pinch myself every day. The newest acquisition, speaking of pinching myself and just rare of the rare from the 1990s, I have new in this stack the Denon DP-S1 transport and the DA-S1 digital analog converter. Bought these from a guy who was moving, and he was the second owner of these, had owned them for at least 10 years, maybe 15 years, I think he said. And I remember these being on the cover of Stereophile. I actually bought the back issue on eBay. But I remember that issue of Stereophile when I was a kid in the 1990s. And I just can't believe that I have it now. Yeah, it's fantastic. So I have it right now where I'm actually A-B'ing both of them between the Levinson 360S and 37 transport, and then the Denon. I wouldn't say it's like a night and day difference. I kind of need to re-listen to everything, because when I first got the Denons, I was maxing out the power in the room here, and I was using the room power with the ceiling lights and the outlets, which was a 15 amp circuit, and I just wasn't impressed by the sound, and I realized what was happening was I was maxed out. And so I had an electrician put in 2 dedicated 20 amp circuits back here in the back. It's pretty much impossible to see. I don't know if I'm not going to be able to see it. But back there is a MIT Z-Wedge line conditioner. I can't get to it, I think, with this video, but you can see maybe back there, there's something. So the Z-Wedge is back there. The Z-Wedge has all of the audio equipment except for the amp on one 20 amp circuit. And then the second 20 amp circuit has the Levinson 23.5 amp on it by itself. That's a new change, like I said. Only about 2 weeks ago did I do this, because when I got the Denon stuff, I think I just kind of pushed things over the edge, and I wasn't impressed with the sound, and I was scratching my head why. Now I'm very happy with the sound quality, with the amp on its own 20 amp circuit, all the equipment on the second 20 amp circuit, and the room's 15 amp circuit can run the lights and, you know, electrical outlets, all that stuff. So a little quick demo of what it's like to own this DP-S1 transport. The mechanism on mine is a little finicky. It likes to open and close on its own, so you have to let it do its thing. It'll open and close once, and then you push the open close button again, and then it stays open. There is a platter here that you use to go over the CD. Right now the CD that I have in here is a Mobile Fidelity disc, Stevie Ray Vaughan. So you put your disc in, put the platter carefully back on, and then close. Cable-wise, on the Denon, I'm running full balance cables, both for the digital cable as well as the output coax. Well, they're not coax, but fully balanced, going to the Levinson preamp. On the Levinson 360S and 37 transport, I have an older XLO RCA digital cable, and then RCA reference cables from XLO going to the 380S preamp. So not quite apples to apples between the Denon and the Levinson, but it's kind of the best I can do, because there's only two balanced inputs on the 380S preamp, and the other balanced set of inputs are coming from the Magnum Dynalab tuner. So that's what I'm working with. Let me wrap this video up. I'll show a little bit of the back of the Levinson with the XLO cables. I'm running a single set of speaker cables for the Energies. I am not doing tri-wire. Yes, I have the power strip back there. Sorry, the cable doesn't reach from the amp to the 20 amp circuit. But you can see here on the back I've got XLO jumpers for the Energy Veritas 2.8s that have tri-wire ability, and then the XLO cable going there. Finally, just want to show my geekiness here with the records and literature that I have. Those are all the manuals for the equipment. This is the stereophile back issue that I got off of eBay circa May 1994. These are the owner's manuals that came with the Denon. Oh, I just have to show you really quick on the Denon. So cool. This is for the remote, and this is for the platter that goes on top of the CD. So those came with the Denon. My remotes, the Levinson remotes, are absolute tanks. If you end up owning the Levinson equipment, and you'll know what I mean. This is the Magnum Dynalab remote. I did have that added when it got serviced. I asked them to add the remote capability, but I have not upgraded the Magnum Dynalab to a 108T. It's still an original 108. And then back to the literature, and got some stuff in here, my receipts, got some original literature on the energy, speakers, the 23.5, 37, transport, Nakamichi Dragon. Yeah. So, I'm going to wrap it up there, but thanks for watching. If you hung in, I know it's maybe a little boring, but at this point I thought it was good to walk through the equipment that I have. I'm still on the hunt for the next thing would be the Denon PRA preamp with a separate power supply, and then I'm going to be out of room on the rack, so I'm going to have to figure that out. But very happy with what I have now and enjoy listening to it quite often, so thanks for watching.